Hello and welcome to this episode of StudioTech. This is the show where we talk about the technology that helps you create great professional quality videos, whether that's for the internet, for television, or for clients. Now, when you're producing the video, quite often you need to put up some additional information, and frequently that is done with the means of things like a lower third, just adding some graphics. Or you might want to animate that slightly and do something like this, and you just have an animated graphic coming in. And these really help improve the quality and the information that you can give on the video. Now, sometimes you want to do something that's a little bit more like the broadcasters, the CNNs of the world, the BBCs. And what am I talking about there? Well, I am talking about things that, scrolls and tickers and animated logos, being able to link to real data. And that is something that most basic switching equipment doesn't do. You need to buy another box to be able to do that. And we're going to talk about one of those products. It's a new product to the market, and I think it's coming at a very exciting price point. And for those of you who want to add that additional broadcast level of quality, this is something that you should check out. So what is this product that we're going to be talking about? Well, it's from 3DStorm, who happen to be the new tech distributors in a lot of Europe, Middle East and Africa. But they have created an add-on for the TriCaster and for other switchers, and it's called LiveCG Broadcast. So before we look at the product, what sort of graphics am I talking about? Well, maybe that you want to have a music channel, or your client has a music channel, you want to talk about celebrity, you want to link to various bits of gossip. Well, you could have something like this on the screen with animated data, with information moving, with a clock up in the top. There is lots that you can do. But you might not you might want to do that. You might want to have a sports channel. Sports is very popular. So let's say that you want to take sports information and put that on the screen. You might want to have football scores. You might want to have the latest player information. That is all possible with this system as well. Or maybe it's just a news channel and you just want to have a sort of CNN, BBC type look with tickers going across the bottom, with news, with weather. This system can generate all that as well. Or maybe you have a channel that sells things, a shopping channel, or you want to be able to put product information, put images up like this and how you order it. These are the types of things that you can do with this system. As you can see, it is incredibly powerful. So let's take a look at the box itself. This is the box. It's a 1RU rack-mounted unit. It's about 400 millimeters deep. That's about 16 inches. So it should fit in most racks. It won't fit in the narrower racks that sometimes are there for primarily for audio equipment, but it fitted in our rack, no problems at all. Let's now take a closer look at the front panel. There is not much to do with the front on the front panel. It looks very nice with blue LEDs. You can see there's the power on lights and the power on button and some USB ports in the middle. And then there's just the graphics logo on the right hand side. So it just allows you basically to power the unit up from the front panel. Let's have a quick look at the back, and you can see the power supply, the backs of the motherboard, a DVI connector for monitor, USB for a keyboard and mouse, and then depending on the model you might have an SDI card with SDI in and out fitted on the side there. Then this is the unit fitted in our rack, fits above our TriCaster, and I'll talk about the different models. There is a TriCaster only version of this, as well as a version that can be used with other switches. If you have a NewTek TriCaster that supports network inputs with IVGA, then it's good news if you are interested in this product, because the base model comes with IVGA only support. It doesn't have the SDI in and out, and that is available for €3,495. That's about $4,800, give or take. Now, if you need the model with SDI inputs and outputs, and that's basically for any other type of product, whether that's, Blackmagic switches or whatever, then you need the SDI equipped version, which is €4,995, and that's about $6,800. Now, the only extra that is currently available is a social hub plugin. It's a Windows utility that allows you to take Twitter and Facebook and RSS feeds and even SMS data and send those as a feed to the system. And that is priced at €795 or $1,100. Now, that might seem expensive, but I can tell you that if you compare this to comparable products in the market, this is a good deal. Now, we're going to take you through the product. We're going to give a quick overview of how it works, how easy it is to create graphics, and we'll look at the social plugin. And you'll see that this is a very powerful system that can create great graphics, but more importantly, it allows you to link to files to get data. So if you can populate a file with the latest scores at a sporting occasion, or with prices and product information, then it can update so virtually in real time within a few seconds and show the latest information. And that's where the power of this lies, combined with the ability to take social media and comments and show those on screen as well. So let's start off by having a look at the interface of the product. This is the main interface, the main control screen for the LiveCG system. And you see we have preview and program windows at the top. Then 2 rows of buttons, 17 buttons in all. The buttons 1 to 15 are tied to pages 1 to 15. 16 is a blank page, and you can see that we have blank in both program and preview. And then there is an additional button which allows you to select a higher page number, and I'll explain what page numbers are. Page numbers are basically your graphics configuration. So it'll goes up to 99 pages, so we could select an additional page in there. But what you really need to do is to have all your graphics in these first 15 pages. So to put a graphic into preview, we just select it. This is the music overview. So that's what we showed earlier. So that is in preview. And then obviously there is a take button that will then take that and put that into program. Just click it there, and you can see that it appears. And I'll do the take again, and it'll flip-flop because flip-flop is enabled to the other side. Now, I'm actually going to enable the overlay on the system now, and you won't actually see anything because we haven't got anything on the output. But if I now do a take, you can see that those graphics actually appear over the graphics that we are sending. So this is now enabled on the system. Take that off, and you can then, so if you do a take, obviously you can then queue something else up into preview, and then just be able to take and flip-flop between them. These particular graphics come with the system. They are sort of dummy images to give you an understanding of how the system works. So this is the main tab, and you can see at the top right hand corner there are a series of tabs, and we're going to quickly go through those now. The first one is pages. This is your page editor. This allows you to make changes, and the system is very versatile and allows you to drag and drop and move things around. You select the page at the drop down at the top, and allows you to just go and edit whichever page you want. As I mentioned, there are actually 99 pages available, but from a flexibility point of view, you'd want to keep it in the first 15 pages so you can have the buttons available on the main screen. And we'll come back and we'll do an edit in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to quickly go through the other tabs. There is a scheduler. This allows you to put times and end times on various graphics, so you can have timed events, which can be very useful. The next is a playlist. This allows you to create a playlist of events. And I've got a couple of things that I have been using over the last few days. And this has just got 2 events. You can see there down here there's ST Thanks. That's a little fixed graphic that thanks the sponsors of one of our shows. And the next one is a blank page. And over on the right hand side you can see, we might not be able to see, it says that the duration of the thanks is 10 seconds and then the blank image is up for 50 seconds. Now there is a nice option here at the top right of this window, allows you to loop. So next to the stop button there's a loop, and that is enabled. So just to quickly demonstrate how this works, if I now click play, you'll see that the overlay comes up with that graphics. It has a countdown here, 5 seconds, 3 seconds, 1 second, and it will disappear off. And then it is now counting down and says that the next event ends, or current event ends in 42 seconds. And it will keep looping. So basically that graphic appears every minute for 10 seconds. So there's an example of how you can use the playlist. The next tab is the Setup tab, and this is how you set up the session. You can select whether you're using IVGA in the prime box here, or whether you're using Decklink video. It's worth mentioning here that if you are using the SDI inputs, which is the Decklink, you can use it in 2 ways. You can either send 2 SDI outputs from the system, which are fill and alpha, and allow you to overlay video on your switcher, or you can feed in your video. So that might be from your program out, for example, on a Blackmagic 8M or Television Studio, and it will then overlay the graphics on top of your video and send it out of another SDI port. So basically as a loop through, adding the graphics. So if you haven't got support for fill and alpha or for IVGA on a TriCaster, then you can overlay the graphics on any SDI video source that you have. You can select, whether you're running in 1080 HD or standard def, etc., from the drop-down menu. And really, this is a one-time setup, unless you are changing the system that you are using it with. As TriCaster users, we're using it with the IVGA. That uses a network input and doesn't actually take up any of our SDI inputs, which is very useful. There is then a log which you can open, that just gives you some log information. Takes a few seconds to open, but there we are. It tells you that what has been happening on the system. And then finally there's just an About tab, which just shows you what the product is all about. So that is a quick overview of the system. So you can see it has a quite nice and clean interface and is simple to operate. Now we're operating it remotely. You can use TeamViewer or KVM, etc. So you don't have to attach a local keyboard and mouse, at least after it's first set up. You don't have to. We set it up and then have been using TeamViewer to control it remotely, and that seems to work pretty well. Now, how do you then create or edit graphics? I showed you that it was sort of drag and drop layout. So why don't we go in and just create a very simple graphic to give you an idea of how easy it is. So here I am in the pages layout, and I've selected page 12. Let's give that a name. I'm going to call it ST Demo, and we're going to add some very simple items to the screen. Over on the right hand side is where you have the layers. It works in a layered mode, as you would expect, and you can select the object type in this top menu. So I'm going to select logo, and then I'm going to select add, and you can see that it is defaulted to the last logo that was used, and go down sort of, it's like an inspector at the right hand side, and I'm going to go to the tab here, and I'm going to select one of the StudioTech logos. I'm going to select the red and white, I think, logo. I'm going to select open, and there it is. Now we can then just resize it and drag it to wherever we want. Let's just drag it up to the top left, about to there, and that's just a simple way of adding a logo. And if I can take that to program just by clicking the button there, and you can see that that has overlaid just at the top of the screen. Take that off now. So that's just a very simple logo. So the next thing we want to add is some text. So we go to the drop-down menu, and we'll select text, and then we click on the add button, and then a text box has appeared. Again, we can size that, so let's put that there, and again down here at the bottom right you can say this is some text. So we've entered some text that we want to show, and there are other things you can do. There are other options. You can select colors, background, position and size, align to, indent. I'm not going to go through everything, but I am just going to click on background, and this allows us to change the background fill color. And first thing you have to do is to say how transparent or otherwise you want it to be. And I'm actually going to click the all button. By doing that, it has the same effect over the entire object. Otherwise, you can set different colors, and you can then sort of do fades of the color from one side to the other. But I'm going to select all, and I am then going to go and select a different color, which I do here. And I'm going to make this quite garish. I'm going to have red, and I'm going to say OK. And there we are. There's some text. Now we probably want that, say, down here. So we've added some text. Now that obviously is fixed text. If I send that to program, there you are. You can see that we have that nicely displaying along with the logo. Turn that off. Back up to the object drop down, we have a crawler, and we're now going to add that, and it's added it down the bottom there. Let's just move that there. And this you can attach a file name to. Again, it's defaulted to the last file that we use, but I'll show you how you connect to it. And there is a list of the various files. I have a text document here. It's called ST News. Going to select that, and that will then scroll. So let's enable the overlay again so you can see it, and I'm going to take that to program, and then we should see that scrolling. There we go. The text is being read from the file and is scrolling. Now, while that is working, what I can do is to go and edit that file, for example, and change it. And the next time that it reads the file, which will be when it comes to the end of the file, it'll read the file again, and it would update that as required. So you can see this linking to data is very powerful. We now have go up to the object type. So there's a roll, which all goes up and down. There are shapes. So if you wanted to put background shapes on, clock you think is quite simple, but there are lots of options for clock. And if we go to add a clock, and then select the drop down, and there must be 50 or so different options, whether it's just time, hours, or date, or you want everything on there. Let's just pick one sort of fairly at random, and let's make that a little bit bigger, and stretch it, and let's move that up to the top right, and we probably want to give that a background color, so we'll go into fill, select all, and go and select color, and we'll make this some lovely green color just for effect. And I forgetting to transparency, didn't adjust the transparency. Sorry, on all. There we go. So there we are. There's the green there. So that is the clock that we've added. And again, we'll take that to program and show that. And you can see that we have the clock data there. I hope I'm demonstrating just with my garish examples of how simple it is to create your graphics overlays. The Social Hub plugin is a separate software package that you order, and this is a Windows product. You can run it on the same system, but I think they recommend that you run it on a separate Windows machine, and we've got it set up on our rack PC. It does have a dongle that you have to connect to enable it to work, and you then go in and configure it, and you have to link it. So let's have a look at that now. As you can see, Social Hub is running on the machine, and we're first going to go and look at the setup of it and the configuration. And where you have to go first is to your social sources, and this is where you define your active sources. You can see that we've got one Twitter and one Facebook source added. If we wanted to add a different source, we just click on add, and this lists the sources available. So they're Facebook, Flickr, RSS, SMS. If you put in the right dongle with a SIM card, you can actually read the SMS messages from your system. It obviously has Twitter, it has a watch folder, and it has WhatsApp. The one thing that is missing from this, or from any other way of inputting data, is IRC chat rooms, which of course are very popular with a lot of internet broadcasters. Let's just go through the configuration of adding another field. So let's say we wanted to add another Twitter account. This is the information that you have to provide. You provide your email, password, and you have to put in a hashtag. So the way that the Twitter client works is it searches on a hashtag. And when you've completed that data, you do a test, and it will tell you whether you're correctly connected. And then you select OK, and you are ready to go. So that's the input, so we'll cancel that. The output targets, we had to put in the IP address of our CG live system, LiveCG broadcast system, and then you've got logs advanced. I'm not going to go through all the options, but this is where you configure it. So we have the system configured, and as I talked about earlier, we have a Twitter input, and we are searching for the hashtag LiveCG. And we tweeted earlier today, and tweet has actually been retweeted as well by other people, but it's all appearing there. And then we have Facebook. Not that we're particularly active on Facebook, but then it is pulling information from our newsfeed on Facebook. So what you can do, for instance, on Twitter, you can go down and you can select and look at the various tweets, who they're from, and then you can say, right, I like this particular tweet, I want to send that to the LiveCG system, and the same for Facebook. So nothing is going to automatically get through. It has to be moderated. Somebody has to approve it to be sent. So that's how it works on the Windows system, and you would have somebody monitoring and sending in. So that can be on a separate machine and allow you to be pretty flexible on who runs that. That's how you get the input. Well, how do you display it? So let's switch back to the LiveCG system and show you how you add that data. So we're going to add 2 feeds onto this page just very quickly. So we're going to go up to the top and we're going to select ticker, and then we're going to say add, and we're just going to make that a little bit bigger, and we'll drag that down to the bottom. Then at the lower right hand side under ticker, you can see there's an option of selecting what type of feed. So we're going to say we actually want this to be Twitter, and we are going to add some background colors to it. So we select on the background tab, go to the fill, increase the transparency of the background, do it across all the tabs. The default is black, as you can see. I'm going to select a sort of a blue, a lightish blue, and I'm going to say OK. So that is our Twitter feed. Then I'm going to add another ticker, and this time I'm going to do it as a Facebook feed, and I'm going to make that a little bit smaller, and I'm going to put that down. Probably wouldn't want to do these 2 together, but for this example it will work well. And we're going to select Facebook, and again we're going to go and do some background colors, and just a transparency there. Select all, just a transparency, and then select a color, and we'll select red as the background there. So that is it. We have created our fields, and these are automatically linked to our feeds. So I'm going to send this to a program now, and let's now switch over to the Rack PC, and if I enable it, you can just see that the overlay is there, but obviously there is no data. So what I need to do now is to send it some data from the social hub. And I'm going to select this feed here. So I'm going to say send, and that is now on its way to the system. And there you are. You can see that that particular Facebook message is appearing, and it's set up to loop, and it will loop through all the options. I'm just going to do one. Now if I go to Twitter now, and I select the tweet there and say send there, then in a few seconds it will send that feed as well. There we go. There's the StudioTech tweet and the Facebook post from Brian Monroe. So there we are. The tweets and the Facebook posts are still rotating on the screen, and the StudioTech logo is up there on the top. This isn't a particularly wonderful setup. I didn't spend much time designing it, but it just showed the flexibility of linking to data. And last thing I want to show you is just some of the transitions. There is a lot in this product, and I can't show you everything in just a 20-minute to half an hour video. But you can add some nice transitions to your data points, or your elements, your objects, to allow them to fly on and off the screen. So let's just take a quick look at how we would do that, say with some static text. And we're going to do that on this screen. We're just going to add some text over to the left. And if I go and say select on text on the object type, and then go to add, then we can add the text object. There we go. And it's in the middle there. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to change that to say latest tweets and Facebook feed. So there we go. I've created that. I'm going to drag that down to here, and we'll make it little bit bigger. I'm not going to spend a lot of time worrying about the size. I am, of course, going to do something with the background. You can drag this up to make it a little bit easier to use. And going to go to fill, just the transparency. Light to all. What color shall we select this time? And we're going to go for the sort of orangey color. And there we go. I'm not great at picking these colors. And then we're going to go down to another tab which is called transition. And I'm going to say that I want this to come in from the left and I want it to go out to the top. And then we are done. Now if I now do the overlay and enable it over the system, you can see the tweets there, but I haven't sent this one to program. I am now going to send it to program, and what should happen is that it should fly in from the left, which it does, and when this is finished, it will then fly out to the top. Now the way that you fly it out to the top is by basically, do I want to save it? Yes, by going and sending a different output. So I'm going to send blank to the program output, and then that will fly out to the top. Now in this video we've only been able to look at some of the capabilities of the LiveCG broadcast. When you add an object to a page, there are lots of options available for fly in, fly out, for colouring, and it does take a while to go through each of them. It does have a lot of capability that we haven't touched on. We didn't show the use of spreadsheets. I mean, using dynamic data is great. You can have a spreadsheet that has calculations in it, and based on what data is in the spreadsheet is what is displayed by LiveCG broadcast. I mean, we have used some very simple things like colouring the background of a cell, and that colour is brought into LiveCG broadcast. This is a great system, and I can't emphasize enough, it is not just its ability to do graphics that's important. The real key is the data, and being able to get data dynamically, whether that's from text files or spreadsheets or from RSS feeds or from Twitter or from Facebook, is really where this system scores high points. It is a very good system, and the pricing is amazing. Now, I talked about pricing at the beginning. We found out while we've been shooting this video that actually pricing in the US is a little bit different. The base unit is $4,000 and the SDI unit is $6,000 in the US. And the other thing that I wasn't aware of at the start is that if you buy the SDI version, you actually get the Social Hub plugin included in that price. So that's not an extra. So that €795 only applies to the IVGA versions wherever you buy it. So that is good news. The price is even more competitive. If you go and compare this to other boxes out there on the market, I think you will be surprised at its capability. So our thanks to 3DStorm for the loan of the unit. It will be a shame to send it back, but it goes back in a few days. I think we're going to miss it. If you've been watching this on YouTube, that is great, but please subscribe to our YouTube channel, StudioTech TV. We also have a website where all the videos are and additional information is posted, and that is www.studiotech.tv. And we have each and every week a live show for 50 weeks of the year. A live show, that's every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK, 2000 CET. And you can find that by going to live.studiotech.tv. And one of the big advantages of that is not only do you get to see the show as we record it and the pre-show and the post-show, the things that go wrong and how we're setting things up, but there is a very active chat room, an IRC chat room, and the link to that is at live.studiotech.tv. And there are lots of like-minded people in that chat room who are all there interested in learning about how to stream better, to create better video for the internet, etc. So why not join us one Tuesday? But anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye.